there, it's Rachel from scrapeahappy.blogspot.com with another crafty video. So today we're going to be doing a 12-page, double-page sketch. This is the sketch I'm using from Scrapbook Generations, and this particular video is part of my Shop in Your Stash series with cupcake theme. So I went into my bag and pulled out this favorite paper of mine here and knew I wanted to make a layout with it. However, to get warmed up, sometimes I don't start with a big project right away when I'm scrapbooking. I end up starting with a little small project. So I made these today. I found a template online and for the basic shape, and then I ended up decorating these. So these are pretty neat. I used just Memento ink, a big marker to color around, and came up with this design. This uses Studio G and 2 different tones of green Memento ink and then a green pen. And then I don't think it's picking it up in the camera, but I also glitter penned some of it. Here's another one with those Hampton Art cupcake stickers, stamps. And this one here, I used some scraps from my previous layout and used these daisy punched. And then this one here. So all journal spots ready to use for another project. I didn't use it for this particular video because the journaling goes up at top here, but I'm not a big journaler, so I wasn't going to use it. So the sketch that we're using is a Scrapbook Generations sketch, and it can be found at Sketch Support. 2-page layouts. You can print this page off and it gives you all the measurements and all the placements. And I have all 8 of Alison Davis's sketches, and I absolutely love her site. So what I went ahead and did just to get this started, because I was having difficulties conceptualizing the sketch when I first did it. I was trying to put this on this side, and then when I really looked at the sketch, you can see the lines here and the lines here to show where the page begins and ends, and this piece was actually on this side. And once I figured that out, then I was able to do the punching like I decided, because when it was on this page, this particular edge punch, of course, didn't work. So this punch is a Fisker's punch, and it just looks like that, and it's one of my favorites. So this here, I've just followed the directions in the sketch. However, the other side was supposed to use the exact same paper at 10 by 10 and then 10 by 10 on this side, but because the pictures would cover most of it, I just took the 2 inches left over from here and fudged it to make it look like it is going underneath. And that's a great way to make your sketches go farther. So what I did is, with this page of this side of the sketch here, you're supposed to have 2 4x6 pictures. Now, I don't have pictures yet for these layouts, so I am making them without photographs. So what I did is, just so that I remember where the pictures are going to go when I go to make this sketch, is I cut these pieces of paper out at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that will give a nice mat when I go and put my picture down. So actually I'll do this one first. And left a bigger space than in the sketch because I just want to be able to really showcase the picture. Now, in my bag, in my stash of chipboard pieces, they had these 3 elements. So that's what I'm going to use for the circles of that sketch. And if I didn't say it, sketch number 4 of the double page sketches. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on there, and it's just a faint little border, and then that's going to go down here at the bottom. Now I am going to use foam squares, and here they are. And I'm doing that so that when I go to put a picture on, you'll be able to stick the picture under there despite having that embellishment, since I'm doing this before having the pictures on there. You just have to think a little bit ahead, but it's no big deal to do that. Okay, so there is that page. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this other page here. So it's a little hard to get all of this in the camera shot, so I'm going to have to do this one separately. Before I do that, I want to make sure that this line is going all the way across. So when I do my alley sketches, I like to do one side so then I can get everything to line up nicely. And then I can take it away and then just finish up the other page of the sketch. So I make sure that they're lined up in the center. And then I can get the placement in the correct space. Okay? Now, this is not set for a mat. This is set for a 4x6 picture. So although I have cardstock here, you won't actually see this when I go to add the pictures in, but it just helps me to know where the pictures do go when I come back to add them. And you're just lining the pictures up on the edge of the 12x12 paper, on the inner edge. Goes all the way right to the bottom. There we go. Now, the next step is to take the other edge of this border and put adhesive down. So, it's tricky to get all the adhesive on, but it is possible. It's probably better not to do that along your pictures, but since these aren't pictures, it'll be okay. So you just line it right up against the edge of the cardstock, or if you were using pictures, your pictures. Okay, and then this piece, which is 2 inches, which would be just a slightly shyer. Oh, I just realized that this needs to go on top. I'll just peel that up a little bit. Just slightly higher, shorter than the actual Alison Davis sketch. But the whole point of sketches is you want to make it your own. And being that I didn't have the paper, this was a good way to get this to work. So you just want to slide this under. A little tricky here. With the other side, I didn't push it down as hard, so this is just making it a little tricky, but don't want to tear anything, so hopefully I'm not. There we go. There. So got that so it lined up. Now, on the other side, you can see I went around and did some blue stitching. So because the pages are far apart, I don't need to necessarily make that line up exactly. So I'm just going to eyeball it, but I'm just using a coordinating Bic Sharpie marker for this, and I'm just going about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch around. Now with the sketch, the stitching was supposed to be along the inside, but this is just such pretty paper. This is one of the most favorite papers from that paper stack, and so I just didn't want to take away from that already look. And I use the faux stitching rather than the real stitching, because I don't have the patience for real stitching. I have a sewing machine and I was a sewer, but I refuse to sew on layouts. It works for other people, but it just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to take my ATG and put it on the chipboard and just put it on the scallop. This is the scallop that I used to cut out the shape. It fit perfectly with these pre-made chipboard pieces. I didn't have to pull out my Cricut. It's sometimes nice, but it would have just been as easy to make some too, but I just like how it's just subtle enough to make it pop off the page. So again, because this is something that is being done prior to having pictures, I'm going to pop dot this up. Now this one's going to go over here on this side, so I'm not going to put any foam squares on the bottom. Where it goes over the picture. So just take just put that over there like so. So then you'll still be able to slide the picture under there, no problem. And then I have this one that's going to go down over here. So again, I'm going to only stick foam squares along here. Okay, and then the last thing is I'm using these purple chipboard letters, and I took the word sweet because on this paper somewhere was sweet written on there, and I just liked that saying. So I was trying to think whether I should chipboard, whether I should pop dot everything or leave it down like that. I think I'm going to glue it down. So I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, and lately, although I'm putting the lid on, it's been clogging. It's hard to believe that these letters were only $1. And again, they're so pretty that I've been hoarding them in my stash. I don't know why. So it's time to use them. Stick that really down there. So there is my completed layout for my Use Your Stash or Shop Your Stash haul. So far I have made 1-page spread. I made these journaling spots with the stamps from it, and now I've made this 2-page layout. I plan on making some cards with the papers from this pack, and look all what you can get from using things from your stash. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Let's Get Crafty, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.